Welcome back. We start off our domestic block in Chicago, where a jury found Jason Van Dyke, the white Chicago police officer, guilty of murdering 17-year-old black teenager Laquan McDonald in 2014. Activists and concerned citizens rejoiced after 4 years of patiently waiting for justice in a case where evidence of excessive force and misconduct was so abundant. The killing happened on October 20th, 2014, when Van Dyke responded to reports that an individual carrying a knife was trying to break into cars. Van Dyke shot McDonald after arriving on the scene. Initially, a spokesperson from the Fraternal Order of Police stated that McDonald lunged at Van Dyke with a knife, and Van Dyke had no choice but to shoot McDonald in defense. However, dash cam footage disproved that lie. The footage shows McDonald walking away from a group of armed police officers as he struck with the first bullet, immediately dropping to the pavement. Van Dyke then proceeds to unload his sidearm into the teenager, shooting him more than 15 times in 14 seconds. The video evidence sparked nationwide outrage, proving that police had lied about McDonald's killing. Nearly 4 years after the murder of Laquan McDonald, a jury in Chicago consisting of 8 women and 4 men, 7 of whom were white, 3 Latino, 1 black, and 1 Asian, found Van Dyke guilty of 1 count of second-degree murder and 16 counts of aggravated battery with a firearm, and 1 count for each bullet fired. Van Dyke was acquitted of 1 count of official misconduct. McDonald's great-uncle Marvin Hunter spoke at a gathering after the verdict, feeling some sense of relief.
The verdict of that jury today represented the committal and the benediction for us. And now we could go home tonight and sleep, knowing that Laquan is at peace, and knowing that the people that harmed him unjustly, you understand, will face whatever they have to face.
Meanwhile, in Ohio, a similar story has had a very different outcome. Former Cleveland police officer Timothy Loehmann, who shot and killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice in 2014, has been given a second chance. According to video of the incident, Loehmann shot Tamir Rice multiple times less than 2 seconds after arriving to the scene. Loehmann, a trainee at the time of the shooting, was never indicted on charges relating to Rice's murder, but was fired from the Cleveland Police Department in 2017 for reportedly lying on his employment application. On Friday, we learned that Loehmann was hired to work at the Bel Air Police Department in Ohio, and he was not the only questionable hire. That same police department also hired former Officer Eric Smith, who was suspended for allegedly misusing a statewide computer system for law enforcement. Bel Air Police Chief Dick Flanagan confirmed that he hired both Loehmann and Smith, saying he believed both men deserved a second chance. With police brutality in question, I was joined earlier by Margaret Kimberly, senior columnist at the Black Agenda Report. I want to start by just saying that when a civilian kills someone, the suspect is often arrested immediately and their fate decided later. However, with police, it seems to be the other way around. Why is this, and how can we challenge that double standard?
Well, police are hired to be the 21st century slave patrol. This country has an abysmal record of 1,000 people killed by police every year, an average of 3 people every day. The system is set up to protect them, not to protect the public. Their job allegedly is to protect us, but they are really used as the slave patrol. They are used as the people who enforce the system of white supremacy, something we should remember on this day as Columbus is commemorated in the beginning of the settler colonial project that led us to this place more than 500 years later. So no, they're not treated the way the rest of us are treated when we are accused of a crime. The system defends them. It is set up to defend them. The intention is to defend them. And the intention is for black people in particular to be subject to their violence and to accept it.
Well, this case in Chicago is one of many instances, high-profile cases we saw of a white police officer killing an unarmed black man or child, and yet this is one of the only instances where we've actually heard of that officer getting charged or sent to jail. What message does it send when in so many other cases these police officers go free, and in the case of Tamir Rice even end up serving in another police department?
It tells us what, don't want to repeat word for word what I said before, but it makes it clear where we stand in this country. So my message is for black people. What are we going to do? How do we keep the police from killing us? The system is not set up to help us. Most of the police who killed are never even charged, much less indicted or tried or convicted. And so I think we have to reestablish. The Black Lives Matter movement was huge. It seems to have petered out, but we have to reestablish a movement, if not BLM, something else. We have to talk about these human rights abuses where a child, Tamir Rice was a child. There's no other country in this world. The United States always calls itself civilized, a free nation, a democracy, etc. There's no other country that the United States usually considers itself in the same categories with that allows police to kill with impunity. Actually, most of the countries we compare ourselves to don't even have an armed police force. So I think the question is for the public to take action, to continue the work of BLM. It was a beginning, but I think we have to reestablish how we are going to make demands on this system to keep the police from being hired killers.
You raise an interesting point because during the presidency of Barack Obama, we did see massive protest movements in Baltimore, Chicago, New York about this very issue, police brutality, and the emergence of the Black Lives Matter movement. Where has it gone? Why do you think we're not seeing that same energy in the streets anymore? Because certainly the problem hasn't gone away.
Yes, I think the problem was with Black Lives Matter as an organization. They did good work. They brought a critical issue to national prominence, but there was no organizational setup, if you will, that allowed that passion, that outrage to be channeled anywhere. And as a result, we go back to the old failed policies of depending on politicians to help us, instead of seeing that the only way to do this is through an independent mass movement. But it can't be like BLM either. It can't be a movement that is looking for endorsement or support from the Democratic Party or from wealthy donors. It has to be an independent mass movement. It has to be a movement, part of a larger movement of self-determination for black people, so that we can make sure that this issue doesn't disappear, because as you said, police killings don't stop.
We're unfortunately out of time. We'll have to leave it there, but I would love to have you on again in the future, Margaret, to discuss exactly your vision for that movement. Margaret Kimberly, senior editor at the Black Agenda Report, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.